Hi all, I had a request to do a video on parallel compression, so I'm finally getting around to that. What I have here is a recording of a choir that I recorded about 20 years ago, and it was recorded to tape, then copied to 16-bit digital at my studio because I didn't have a portable digital recording solution at the time. However, the biggest shortcoming of this is the microphones that I had at the time, which were not very good. Now, I realize most of you are probably into EDM or rock music, but really the most common usage for parallel compression is classical music, and the principle is really the same regardless of what kind of music you're doing. Don't worry, I'll add an example of rock music later. Now, the main reason to use parallel compression as opposed to series compression is to bring out low-level details in the signal without really affecting the louder signals, and classical is a great way of showing off that because it's so dynamic. While I do have more current recordings of choirs and other classical music, I felt that this one best demonstrates what we're trying to achieve. So let's give this a listen without any compression. I've gone ahead and set up a compressor on an alternate bus. Don't worry about what I'm using because it's not available anymore and it's nothing special anyway, but it'll do the job. I've actually set up two identical compressors on alternate buses in order to avoid any risk of latency between the two, and they have the same settings except the threshold on the other compressor is up all the way. Notice that I'm using an extremely low threshold, ratio, extremely fast attack, and long release time. What we want is a compressor that'll start clamping down on the signal almost above the lowest dynamic. We want it to catch all transients, but we don't want it to pump or breathe, so that's why we have a fast attack time and slow release time. It's less dynamic now, but it feels kind of flat, so what we're going to do is introduce some uncompressed signal along with the compressed signal. What's happening on a technical level is low-level signals are being added together for a total of plus 3 dB gain, while louder signals are not being boosted nearly as much. The reason for that is louder level signals are being attenuated fairly heavily by the compressor, and therefore they do not sum like low-level signals do. Now let's listen to the exact same process on a rock tune, first without any processing.
She dances with the old man. They wrap her up in furs. She says a life of luxury's a life that she prefers. The things she'll do for diamonds, the things she'll do for gold. She don't believe in true love, and she's scared of growing old.
Now only the compressed signal.
She dances with the old man. They wrap her up in furs. She says a life of luxury's a life that she prefers. The things she'll do for diamonds, the things she'll do for gold. She don't believe in true love, and she's scared of growing old.
Finally, both signals together.
She dances with the old man. They wrap her up in furs. She says a life of luxury's a life that she prefers. The things she'll do for diamonds, the things she'll do for gold. She don't believe in true love, and she's scared of growing old.
The difference in both rock and classical examples are subtle, but that's the whole point. You just want to bring up a little bit more detail in the low levels without affecting the loud portions. It's very important that no makeup gain is used, and in fact oftentimes negative makeup gain is used on the compressed side. Otherwise the uncompressed signal does not sum properly and you wind up hearing more series compression than parallel compression. Thank you as always. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.